Hello?
Henry Walker.
What's up, man?
Man, hey, so check this out, bro. So we got you on vocal overdub, man, but I don't know if I should call this the LA Confidential or the Arkansas Confidential or the Area 51 version of vocal overdub. And here's why, bro. Because you got so much stuff going on behind the scenes that's extraterrestrial, extraordinary, bro. That man, we gotta give you, we gotta give you props, hands down, man. And it's really dope because of the fact that you got so much stuff going on that you can really floss on a whole lot of folks, but you keep quiet, man. You keep so quiet that it'll look like you ain't got nothing going on. But I know, Max know, you know for sure,
Hey,
and you so humble, bro. You get what I'm saying? And you so kind-hearted, you so sweet, you so sugar bear with it. But you could really be you you know what I'm saying? But you could really be cold-hearted with it. But you keep calm, man, and you keep so peaceful, man, and you so helpful, man, when people reach out to you, man. And I like that, man. It's really dope because of the fact that even with all the stuff that you got going on outside of TMR, you still come through TMR offline and help our members, man. And let me commend you for that. Let me let you know that I'm drinking my apple cider water right now with honey. Because I'm on my health
yeah,
nut
I don't.
thing right now. You know what I'm saying? So this gonna be a healthy interview right now because we about to get some good information, some gems. So here's the thing. I want you, I because I don't want to say what you got going on. So I want you to kind of like I'm asking questions, you know what I'm saying? But I don't want to kind
Yeah,
of voice out what's going on because I don't want to say what you don't want to be heard or what you don't want out in the atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna leave the
right,
mystery
right.
a mystery if you choose it to be. But I do want to talk about, I don't even remember how we met. If it was you getting put in TMR, or did we meet in one of the other groups and you came into TMR, or what happened? But I just know that we close as heck right now. Like we like brothers,
Right,
bro. Like we close as hell, man. And like it's crazy because we really close. You get what I'm saying? But we met,
right.
we ain't never seen each other except for profile pictures. So let that be known. But you like
Right,
family to me. You get what I'm saying? But we met
right.
through social media, and that's one of the good things about social media when you play it right. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't
Yeah,
don't understand how this thing works. But for one, I want you to talk about I want you to talk about how how this whole social media thing, and the reason I want to start with the social media thing because you got a lot going on social media wise. So I want you to start off with some of the benefits of social media, how it has worked for you.
well, um, man, first off, before, man, I, like, really, like, get off into anything, man, I got to give a few shout outs. Number one, shout out to God, man.
That's what's up.
Because, like, all of this that's happening, all of these, I'm going to call them blessings versus success. But all of these blessings and opportunities, man, I'm a believer in God, so I feel like, man, that all of this is possible because of Him.
Uh-huh.
Now, on a second tier, if you will, I got to give a shout out to you for even having TMR to exist because um, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this proudly, man. TMR has actually playing a very detrimental part in these blessings and opportunities.
Oh
Uh,
man.
so I guess I'm finna really answer the question still with these shout outs because the importance of social media. First off, we met. I think we actually did kind of maybe bump shoulders in another group or something, but it wasn't like intense thing or it wasn't like a real connection at that point.
Uh-huh.
Actually, big bro Kevin Wilson, shout out to Kevin. He brought me into TMR, and like instantly, man, TMR was a whole bunch of things for me. It was family first, and then it was something that actually started to challenge me to get all of my stuff together, to get me together as a producer, to explore, to network, to do everything.
No doubt.
TMR was, it was major for me. One of the first influences I picked up on in TMR from a producer perspective was from Rush, Rashad Coles. I'm sure everybody, even if you ain't in TMR,
right?
yeah, they know who this cat is. So I ain't gonna speak on his portfolio. I went and done my research, and I was like, hey, this dude is in this group, and I don't know if I could say this or should say this, man. You can edit it out if I'm not supposed to say this, but man, do not sleep on that group. It's a lot of important people in that group.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So I ain't gonna start name dropping. I don't mean that'll be your thing, but I'll say it like that, man. That was one of the first things I was like, hey, this dude is dope. You know, it's Rashad Coles, this guy, he's dope. And I knew that, you know, he got a lot of love in the group because he's an OG, he's a vet, he's done what I'm trying to do.
Right.
And so that was some things, man, that challenged me. You know, so that was one thing. Social media, actually, it made me pay attention to how close the industry is. It's like, this is within reach. You know, it's like, here's a guy in this group, and he's within reach. He's just an inbox away, you know?
Straight up.
And from time to time, I will inbox him, and he'll respond. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we chop it up, you know, a few times about a few different things, man. And so social media was big. The next thing is me and you actually put me up on game with some hashtag and stuff like that. I'm sure you remember that conversation.
Yes,
we
sir.
were on the phone for probably like an hour and a half, straight talking about hashtags and algorithms. And so that kind of put me up on game, man, with interlocking and kind of working all of my social media access, which from that has, and I'm not even maximizing, but from just applying some of those principles has brought me more opportunities, more blessings, more things that I've been able to, you know, take advantage of, man, and kind of put myself in its way. Social media is huge. I will say that it's access, but at core, whatever it is you do, like me, I'm a producer, composer, arranger, and as well as a musician. Social media is the access, but you definitely have to put in the work. But being a part of a group like TMR makes all of that stuff not so much necessarily, well, it makes it so available. It makes it a lot easier, though. If you're willing to work, do the work, then, man, like, being in TMR and utilizing all the tools, having a really good open mind and just down the grind, man, hey, it's sky's the limit, bro. Like, so I'm grateful for social media. I'm grateful for the group. And that's why, I'm always going to stop through. I'm always going to stop through, man, and try to share whatever light I have, because I can tell you what it's done for me just from that group alone.
Right.
You know, like that's some other stuff, man, that I could shed light on that people could really, you know, but I ain't gonna jump ahead in this. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm just, for right now, honestly, if a person can maximize on TMR, I would say that you almost don't need any of the other stuff.
Right.
There's enough in the group, you know, to really, really put yourself, man, in a winning situation. And at worst, you could put yourself in a very competitive situation.
It's funny that you say that, because I got to stop you because of the fact that when you go quiet, when Eric Troy goes quiet, I know why y'all quiet. So I don't get mad because the two, and I'm only saying the two of you because you guys are the ones that go quiet but still check in with me offline, right? But I know when you guys go quiet that you guys are working, right? And it's money calling. And so I'll be like, man, they hustling. You get what I'm saying? Like it's work. And so everything that you just said right now, just off the fact that you said if you utilize TMR for what it's worth, or just the fact of utilizing social media as a whole, like there's a lot that you can get out of social media, but we always have individuals who still use social media just for the likes. And we always preach, we don't care about likes. You get what I'm saying? Or we don't care about subscribers, because the subscribers and the likes and those are not the things that are going to get you paid. You get what I'm saying? It's the networking and it's the business that you're going to create out of using the platform for the way that it's supposed to be used. And so just hearing you say that, I'm like, when I got a hold of seeing what you're capable of, like seeing you or hearing you on those keys, I'm like, damn, this dude is like, I always tease you and call you Beethoven, but that's you could like man, like you get down on those keys, right? And so it's really dope to hear you on those keys and you enjoy what you're doing, but you found a way to take something that you love and monetize off of it, where even though, and here's the thing, it can be a hobby, it can be a fun thing for you, but it can also come off as a job. But again, it's not really a job because you love it, right? And so it's almost like you wake up every day, like you always say, like even for the day, you say, oh yeah, I'm gonna start what I'm doing, I'm gonna do the interview. You get what I'm saying? Like it's like this is what your day is filled with. Like I'm gonna do music all day because not only do I love it, because you know how most people be like, oh yeah, I love music. But it's kind of like they don't care about if they make money off of it, because we're hypnotized off of this thing where if you love hip hop or if you love music, you just gonna do it. It don't matter if you get paid or not. I get that, I understand it, but let's be real. If it can put a banana in a refrigerator, why not? You get what I'm saying? And so you illustrate that in your day to day consistently. This is how you eat. This is what you do, whether it's, and we'll get to the church part because you also make money doing it for the church, and not saying that you're doing it in a negative way. So that's why I say I want to get to that in a minute. But let's go into, because like I said, I want to brag about you on the keys, because I love how you get down on the keys. I love people who can play instruments, because I can only play by ear, because I'm just someone who enjoy it. So I'll pick up something and kind of play, based off of what I think I could do. How did you get started in instruments? And is the keyboard the only thing that you can play, or can you play other things?
Like I kick set a little bit, man. It's funny. I love telling this story, bro. I really do, because this is like, it's I tell you what, I'm just gonna tell the story. So growing up, man, my dad was always associated with music. He picked up keys a little bit, but that really wasn't his thing. He really was a guitarist, and he could play harmonica. Like those were the things that he could pretty much highlight in and say, like, hey, I could do this. I'm confident in doing this. But when I was a kid, I just wanted to hear beats. That was me. Right. I was always infatuated with drum programming. I just wanted to. So when mom would, clean up or whatever, I would grab some of the wooden spoons and pocket pans. I would literally just be beating the hell out of them. And so, right. They got frustrated with that, because, and I honestly, I got tired of taking the risk having to get a whooping from beating on the pot, to where they finally was like, okay, we got to get him something. So they got me a drum set, and so I banged on that, but that wasn't good enough for me. The drum set wasn't good enough for me. I wanted to really, really do some things. And so what happened was I started, they actually bought me a keyboard.
Okay.
Yamaha DJ X. And the DJ X was something that it didn't really let me sequence, like with quantizing and stuff like that. And even then, at the time, I didn't know nothing about it anyway. But I just wanted to program some stuff, man. And that's what I started doing with the DJ X, but it wasn't letting me record in patterns.
Gotcha.
And so everybody who knows me now, they know I still record in patterns to this day. So I end up getting this machine for one of my birthdays. It's an EMU EP7. I still have it. Okay. And so that allowed me to do pretty much everything I wanted to do. And so, but what it was, I was making beats at the time. I was making beats. Like, I wasn't making tracks. I was making beats. And I was like, I want to be able to make better, like, R&B type of beats, you know, stuff like that. So I said, I need to learn how to play some chords. And that's really all I wanted, was just some chords to learn how to make better R&B beats. And, you know, I grew up in a pretty much Christian faith household. It was like, we buy you this keyboard and stuff like that, you're going to use it for God. Like, that's what I had to do. So I end up, you know, trying to learn how to do certain things to get by at church. And I honestly, over time, end up learning how to play on an accident. Wow. I never intended to be a church musician, you know, but the Creator, man, had a different plan because, and I won't get off into that because I know you said you'll deal with that later, but in playing at church, like, yeah, that has offered me an opportunity to sustain myself financially. And I dare not brag or boast, but I make pretty good money, really good money playing at church. I've been able to do it full time for about the last 7 to 8 years.
And that's the blessing, though.
Of my life.
And that's the blessing.
So that's my journey of being a playing, man. I actually I did 1 year in college. I took a theory class, and I took a sight reading class. So basically, those just really kind of taught me how to read and taught me how to understand the actual language of music. And I took an oral theory class too, and it just kind of maximized on how you hear music, the dissonance, and being able to recognize the color of different keys and stuff like that. It's a whole lot to deal with the ear. So hence the fact it was all theory. And we did a lot of stuff like recognizing chords and chord types. Like maybe we would go into a class, and the first 10 minutes we would just play like I don't know, major 7 with the flattest fifth. We play that chord for like 20 minutes. Nothing but that chord. So now when I'm listening to a song that I got to learn for church, I don't necessarily have to sit down and learn it because I can hear all of the chord types like right away. Right. Because of, crazy exercises like that. So my journey, everything kind of has played a part, man, into me becoming what I am right now. So, but I never intended to really be an actual musician. That was never the plan. I wanted to be able to make better R&B beats.
So then I gotta ask you a question, man, and I'm gonna ask you this question as the big homie, because we always have this debate every now and then in TMR, and you always kind of make comment about it, and I'm gonna tease you about it as I ask you the question. But how is it that you are so skilled and dope in playing keyboard and as a drummer, as you say, but you are challenged when it comes to sampling? because all of it is based on hearing and placing sounds together. What is the challenge in chopping up a sound and puzzling it together to create your own? Because that's all it is in sampling. And remember, I always tell you that. And a lot of people always, get frustrated with the frustrated with the process of sampling, because for whatever reason they're like, man, I can't steal somebody else's music and make it my own, or that's not really making music. But you understand that it is music, but yet and still you're like,
Right.
it's a challenge. And what is the actual challenge of the sampling process for someone as skilled as you in the creation of music?
Well, it's funny because your question is the answer. Your question actually is the answer. And there's some, like, I can tell you for sure, if you ever get to do one of these with Ronaldo, my little brother Ronaldo, or Kevin Claiborne, they'll be able to tell you this. See, the curse is the ability to play whatever it is you want to play. Because, like, there's literally nothing I can't play, right?
Okay.
Like, there's nothing. Even if I just so happen to not be able to hear it, I could get the sheet music and just read it.
Right.
So that is the curse.
Got you.
Pun intended.
Nah, that's me. Got no doubt.
Like, with you guys though, like with you and with Kevin, Max, like, I take my hat off a million times to y'all, man, for being able to do it, because it's a whole other level of creativity. See, it's creativity versus ability or skill. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so
I never heard it explained like that, so that's dope. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's my reality. That's most real musicians, like guys that, I ain't say real musicians, but guys that like play regularly. You know what I'm saying? They like spend a lot of time actually having to perfect music, because like at my church, I gotta have that stuff like it is on the CD.
Right.
And so when you got a guy that does that regularly, it's hard for it. Like, it's difficult for me to, like, if I make a really hot pop track or a really dope trap, or anything like that, I earned it because I have to turn off the musician in my mind. I have to turn that off, because if I don't, then the track will always be overproduced. It won't be creative. It won't be attractive. It won't be appealing, and it probably more than likely won't be parallel to the genre. So it'll just sound like a guy that knows how to play trying to make a trap beat. It won't sound organic.
Got you.
With the sampling thing, that's an art of its own, man. And like, y'all get to tease me about it because y'all have mastered the crap out of it, And for me, man, it's like I literally probably would have to have I don't know, man, 6 to 8 week course, or like straight up and down.
And it's fun, and it's funny because probably how you go to the keys is how I'll go to a sample, right? And so even like if I hear like even like when Chris Chapman, like when he throw the records out there, I can hear a record and know within the first, let's say 4 bars, if I want to hear just the first 4 bars of a song, or just in hearing the whole song, I'll know the parts that I want to take, right? And what I'll do with them. But I don't hear them the same way as, let's say, some people who like to sample the whole parts, because I only sample sections because I like to replay it. Like I'm going to play keys, right? And like everybody has their own way of doing sample flips. Or chopping up a song, but to even hear you explain the way that you see it versus how we see it, that's how we'll see you playing keys. Like, I know that I can get the start of how I want the keyboard elements to come out, but I know that I have to come, if I want it to sound more harmonic, or if I want it to just have a little more substance behind it, I know that I'll need an actual keyboard player to come in and put the body to it. Where, like you're saying with sampling, that I don't want it to sound as, let's say, just to make it sound like it's not robotic, I need to have some hip hop head come behind it and loosen it up for me. You get what I'm saying? So it's like it goes hand in hand with the processes, and that's really dope. And just to hear you explain it like that, it makes a lot of sense, because I remember when my uncle used to say, like, he couldn't do it like we do it, but he could never really explain it where I would understand. And of course, it was always the age difference too, because you know the grandpas can't explain it to the grandsons in ways where we would gravitate to it. But that's a dope explanation of it, and it makes it easier to understand. And it's probably a lot as to why a lot of actual musicians kind of downplay the process, because of the fact that they don't see it as actual music, because of the fact that in their heads they're like, no, I can play this. They can't read music. I can read music. You get what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like you can't do what I can do. You know what I mean? So it makes a lot of sense. So you touched on the church a little bit. So I take it that, especially being from Arkansas, because I got a lot of family. Actually, my mom's side of the family is from Arkansas. Matter of fact, we have a family plot in Arkansas. Very spooky. But
wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, man. But so church is big out there. So I take it that you grew up in the church, which is probably why you play in the church. Am I assuming wrong or am I assuming right?
That's pretty much like spot on, man.
Now let me ask you a question though. Being from Arkansas, we know, and especially what's going on in the world today with the race issues and all of that. Being a believer, and I always tell people when I speak believer, the devil was a believer too, but I'm gonna take it that you're the side of the believer, that you love God and you love peace. How is Arkansas for you? Meaning you're a church goer. There's racism in the world right now, and you love music. So music, church, these are things of peace, and you're in a community that's kind of split. How is life in Arkansas for you, and how are you using, let's say, your music and your love for God, and not in that order, because the priority is God, but how are you using those things to be, let's say, something of positive energy in the community, or does that even matter to you?
It's I'll tell you what, I'm gonna try to answer that this way right here, man.
Okay.
I honestly, bro, from bro to bro, like I'm giving this to you.
No, it's 100. I don't expect you to be an activist, bro, because the way that I give it back is through TMR. So that's that. So you can even answer like that. So I don't expect you to go out and be Martin Luther King, bro. So be honest.
All right. So,
straight up.
To me, and I'm glad you gave me that liberty, because to me, man, I'm gonna be honest, man. I couldn't tell you the difference or the differentiation in the climate here, because I have been so overwhelmed with like what God is actually doing in my life through opportunities. Like the only reason I even know that there's an issue going on is because I'll chime in on Facebook, maybe on my way to check out some posts on TMR.
Right.
And I just see some people on my personal page, on my personal timeline, that's kind of going in about it. But I think that, man, and of course this is just me, this is my personal thing.
No doubt.
I'm just gonna wipe on it just a little bit. I think that whatever you realize, and what I mean is what I mean by realize, I mean what you make real is a part of your reality. Okay. See, my reality is about positivity. It's about love. It's about taking all, because, man, I have so much going against me right now to where I don't even know if I have space for that. I've got
that's big. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I have to maximize right now what I can with my life and with the gift that God has given me. and it just so happened to be music. So there's people who are gonna, they're gonna do their thing with the whole race thing. That ain't my thing. I got so much that I feel like as an assignment that I have to do with my music, with my gift, to where like that's my focus, man. And I know that it probably plays a big part, the fact that I work, my office is here in my townhome. So I spend a good portion of my time, here. And I do typical things like I would be if I was at a 9 to 5. I take a lunch break. I got a time clock in my studio, so I sign in, sign out.
Okay.
And so I am outside of, but as far as when I see people, I don't never treat a person different anyway. If like if they white, Hispanic, Chinese, whatever, right. Even if they're gonna treat me different, you know what I'm saying? Like I meet a person initially, it's like, hey, and especially in this business, I can't afford to have so much of my personal beliefs about things in the forefront. Right. Because if you're going to be a business, you're going to be a business, or you're not. Either one, it's one of the two. And so, like, let's just say I was a racist person. Well, how much business am I going to be able to do with white people or whatever?
Okay, you made me sigh, bro. The reason you made me sigh is because so often I try to explain my feelings towards, because around me, I'm from LA. My background,
right.
Blue, but I got a lot of homies. I like blueberries. I got a lot of homies that like strawberries. You feel me? And right. it was never issue as far as if we fight, it wasn't because you like red and I like blue. It was just because we got into a disagreement, right? But in addition, it wasn't because I like the black side of the checkerboard and you like the white pieces. You get what I'm saying? Or right. Chessboard or whatever. However, I will tell you that when I went to college, because I grew up in private school, and then when my second half of high school was public school, but it was in my community, it was always like a mixture. And everybody pretty much got along, but it was mostly Black and Hispanic. It wasn't until I went to college that I got exposed to racism. But the racism that I was exposed to was on the part of Black, white, and Mexican, because you had the Black Student Union, you had the whites who just didn't like Blacks for whatever reason, and then you had the Hispanics who stuck to their own. So it was kind of like being in jail. Everybody stuck to their own. Nah, I ain't been to jail. Okay. How do I know? I just know. Okay. But check it out. But what I'm saying is, we're taught to hate, right? But a lot of times we don't really know why we hate certain groups of people other than the fact of they just didn't live in our household. Or when it comes to gangs, it's because we grew up on a certain block where everybody just liked a certain number or a certain color. So that's just what we agree with because of the fact that we know these particular homies are going to have our back, quote unquote, if it goes down. But when I got in corporate America and I thought that the man was going to keep me down, it wasn't the man who was trying to keep me down. It was my own that was trying to keep me down because my own was trying to beat me to the top tier. And it was the man who was actually telling me, watch out for your people, not my people as the colored, but your homies. You get what I'm saying? Because they're the ones that are coming in here trying to throw salt on you, especially once I started getting sick. It was some of my own homies and not the ones out of my crew, but some of my work homies going to the upper management, telling them, how come y'all like him so much and he's sick all the time, X, Y, and Z. But it was these quote unquote white folks who were trying to help me move up because they like my work ethic and they like me as a person. And I was like, damn, I said, for so long, we're taught that white people hate us just because we're black, but everybody's not the same. You get what I'm saying? So we can't hold everybody to the same stature or the same characteristic as what history teach us. But then once we start understanding that, we're taught to dispute, we're taught to create a war between the masses just because of the fact that it's easier to create diversity in society because it makes opportunity for those who are trying to take over. Right. So like you said, how can I have business if I'm going into my decisions with a feeling of hate? Because that's going to cause you not to work with other people or going into that situation with animosity. So once you start going into these situations saying, hey, I like everybody, or I'm just looking for peace, you'll start realizing that it's opportunity in everything so long as you know how to approach everything with a professional sense. And so I like that you said that. And like I said, I didn't ask you that question for you to say, hey, I'm giving back to the community. I'm in the mission. And this is where people go wrong. People feel that it's all based on just because you say you go to church, that, oh, I gotta be holy Moses on every street corner. Nah, God calls us differently. You got the talent of music and you bless and you probably being blessed through music. I got the talent of speaking. So maybe that's what my calling is. That's probably why TMR exists, because we know that even though TMR is based on music, you know that we do other things outside of music within TMR. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I asked you that question, bro. So you know, I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. I just wanted to know because I know how Arkansas is.
Yeah, you probably right. I'm sure, man. Like, you know, I got a homie. He probably gonna be over here in a minute. Like, if I asked him, he'd probably be like, "Yeah, man, it's crazy out here," you know. And he's probably right. And you know, because I dare not. And let me say this because I don't want to be misunderstood. I dare not suggest that racism doesn't exist.
Right.
I think my position was I was suggesting that just because it's just like me, like outside, you know, I got two vehicles, okay, but my neighbor has a 550, CLS 550.
Mm-hmm.
Now that car is a real car, and it's a real nice car.
You say a real car.
Yeah, it's a real car. It's a car. It's a nice car. I see it almost every day, but it's not my car, right. And it's not a part of my immediate reality. So I don't go over to that car and start pulling on the door handles, trying to get in that car, because that ain't my car.
Right.
You know? And so that's how I treat just pretty much anything. There's things that I feel like belong to my universe, and there's things that ain't got nothing to do with my universe. The things that belong to my universe, I give energy to those things. The things that don't belong, things that I don't feel like is in an alignment with, you know, with my soul purpose, I just don't give that stuff any energy. I don't have any time left in my lifespan to devote any energy to that.
Well, you know? Let me ask you a question though. Do you feel that because you play in a church, you go to a church, and because you are a believer, do you feel that you have an obligation to do certain things or behave a certain way, or that you're held accountable for certain, it's like this? Because I say that I'm a Christian, I believe in the Most High. So I'm not going to tie myself to any religious group. But because you do these things for the church and you tie yourself to the Most High, do you feel obligated to have to do the things that let's say Christian or religious groups do? Do you feel obligated though? And I'm saying this because of the fact that I don't hear from you that you feel the obligation. You get what I'm saying? Like, just because I'll tell you I'm a Crip, I don't feel obligated to do drive-bys or feel that I have to shoot bloods or go and rob people, because I don't touch guns, bro. I don't steal. I don't do any of that. I'm a Crip because of where I grew up. However, I like everybody, and my homies will tell you that. You get what I'm saying? But I get respect from my homies because of who I am. You follow what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. So through your ties, do you feel the obligations? Because I think that a lot of people just do extra just because of the fact that they're not doing it for. And I said it in another interview that I did, but sometimes we just do too much just because of the sake of trying to please the people versus trying to please God. You follow what I'm saying? Or not doing it for yourself, but for other people. So are you not feeling like you have to be obligated in that sense?
To me, man, I feel like and this is the way I have to answer it, bro. I feel like what I'm doing and the way I'm dealing with it is the way that that God actually is really looking for people who say they believe to deal with it.
Okay.
Because if you look at Christianity, right? And I know this is not what this is not supposed to be about this, but just a quick point. If you look at Christianity, the one thing that even people who are not Christians, they associate Christianity with teachings of Jesus the Christ. So if you base your behavior on his, which is, I thought that's what it's supposed to be about.
Right,
that,
exactly.
He did stuff like, okay, well, you say this lady is a whore. Well, I'll tell you what, bring her to me. And then he says, hey, just go, sin no more.
Right.
Everything about what he did expressed love and never gave a whole lot of attention to the negative side of things. And that's my approach. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
If it's a negative thing, I don't care what it is. I just don't even, I don't got nothing for it, bro. I don't got nothing for it. And he spent more time investing in the positive things and expressing love and getting the work done. It was all about those three things. I was like getting the work done, expressing love, and that was it, And so that's me,
okay.
Can be hateful. I'm not even like, and I know there's people with the same skin color me that just this week alone, bro, I've been approached with these same things. I give the exact same response and answer that I gave you, and I got called a coon for it. Straight up, I'm like, I can understand your frustration. I'm like, I'm not gonna be mad at you, what I'm saying, for not agreeing with my position. It's okay. But as for me, I just don't have any space in my life for even that little piece of negativity. So that right there, no, I don't feel. Not only do I not feel obligated, I don't even feel that. And sometimes I very like it's hard for me to say I'm a Christian a lot of times. I try to keep from saying that, but that's kind of how it is sometimes. I'm a believer. And I practice things that are based on love and positivity.
Right.
And I feel like that's what God is calling for. All the other stuff, I'm not one of them people who get real deep like that. That's not me. So no, I don't deal with Christianity as a whole as most Christians and believers do. And I definitely don't feel that I'm obligated to actually go out and hunt, for people who hate me, stuff like that. I'm not taking that position,
Right.
Not me, man.
Right. And the only reason because I understand, I know your position, and the only reason that I wanted to ask you in this interview on it is because of the fact that a lot of times people can misinterpret the actions of others and assume. And because you keep saying blessed in everything that you do and that you have blessing, I just wanted you to kind of explain, your relationship with the Most High and how you feel about Christ and everything that's going on in your life and your stance on everything. Because it's one thing to say all of these things, but then people say, okay, if he's blessed, then why he doesn't have that relationship or why he doesn't feel obligated to do X, Y, and Z. Well, here's why. So that's why I wanted you to explain. You get what I'm saying? So it wasn't, like I said, to put you on the spot. I just wanted people to understand you don't have to be a certain way to still feel blessed in your life, because everybody, what I believe, everybody doesn't have the same exact calling, but some people feel, okay, because I say that I believe in God and that he's blessing me, that I'm supposed to be a preacher. Everybody's not called to be a preacher. Everybody's not called to be a minister or, a missionary, because we're not all equipped in that way. You get what I'm saying? So that's the reason that I wanted you to touch on that. Now, in the beginning, I talked about Area 51. I wanna out of Area 51, out of all the alien equipment that and those lasers and all of the spaceships that you got flying over everything, what can you share within this interview, and those that'll be listening to this interview? What things are you currently working on, and who have you worked with within TMR and outside of TMR? What projects do you got going on, bro, that you want to share with us? Please, please, please let us know those Christmas gifts. Okay.
Let me see.
Don't give it all up if you don't want to. Just what you can.
Man, I don't know that I would be able to, honestly.
Okay.
Because,
I know.
Yeah. What I can think of.
That's why I waited to the end. You see how I played it to the end, right? Because I knew.
Yeah. So I tell you what, I'll start with the ones that kind of I feel like keep me the most busy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the most busy, and are the most frequent.
Okay.
One contract job I'm doing right now is an ongoing thing. I'm currently reproducing nursery rhymes.
Right.
And you wouldn't think that there's a lot of nursery rhymes, but oh my God, there's literally thousands.
No doubt.
I didn't know. And the workload is huge because I'm doing them in different languages. This month I may have 100 Portuguese, Russian, Swedish, whatever, and these are the languages that I've actually have done. So those.
So wait, you speaking the language, or are you just doing the music?
I'm just reproducing the music.
Oh,
okay. I have to listen to the lyrics.
Got you.
Language.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. So, and some of the most of the nursery rhymes are the same. Like in English we have itsy bitsy spider. Well, in Swedish we have that exact same nursery rhyme with the exact same melody, but the words are imsa vimsa spender. And so so you have to do a little studying to understand the context of a nursery rhyme so that you can make the sound childish, and playful and fun in context. And so sometimes I do like sound effects with it also. There is a sound effects guy that's on the team, a firm that I work with, but sometimes I'll kind of light his job up a little bit, and I'll do it because I want my track to represent my work really well.
Got you.
But that is probably the most frequent and busy. I'm also doing some sound bed work for a few cartoons. Same guy that actually contracted me to do the nursery rhymes. He's pretty pleased with my work and the return rate, like how fast I was actually getting the stuff done. So he was like, man, I kind of feel like I could just throw you work and you get it done and get it done professionally. So he brought me on to another tier of work, which is a couple of cartoons that he had recently got a contract with. And so he put me on the sound bed with those. That's been fun. I kind of call that my relief work because the nursery rhymes are very tedious. It's a really good payout, man. That's been a huge blessing. My girlfriend can tell you all about it. She loves the fact that I do those nursery rhymes, but the sound bed has been like the cool down stuff. It gives me an opportunity to not have to be so intense with the process.
Mm-hmm.
I get to express more of my own personality, even in a childish form, because it's still cartoon, so it has to have that context, you know.
Right.
That would probably come up next. Also, I'm always, of course, working on a catalog. I won't start naming the local artists and stuff, man, that I'm, dealing with. Matter of fact, I'm just not going to. But there is a couple of handfuls of, local artists and things like that that I'm working on pretty much on a week to week. There is one project, man, that's coming up from a local artist. He's a kid. His kid is amazing, man. We call him DJ. He's a kid, but he's very seasoned. He's got a writer. They brought me on to produce the entire project.
Uh-huh.
I'm probably going to hire an engineer because I don't want to have to do all of that.
Right.
So, but that's something that I'm probably going to be pumping in TMR just to get some feedback, and it's going to be a really, really, really dope project. I'm also EV, which is a TMR member. Dude has me involved in I don't know how much stuff right now.
Yeah, EV out of our crew too. So yeah, that's family. That's what's up.
Right. Yeah. Evan Samuel. EV's got me pretty much on some sound bed stuff for a couple of faith-based films, and that's gonna be crazy, man. Like it's really my first time doing something like that. Like all together, you know what I'm saying? Like I've done score and stuff just to have hanging around in my little library or whatever, just because I'm like, hey, you never know, one day somebody might hit you up to do some scorings,
right.
And
portfolio.
And
bro.
so it just so happened that EV is one of those people that I mentioned earlier in in the interview that is important people in that group, and he just so happens to be one of them, and so he's got me on some crazy stuff right now, man. Let me see what else. Well, nah, yeah.
You don't have to say no more, man. You can shh. It's okay. I would tell you this, huh?
I do want to make mention about Ethel's project though. Like,
okay.
I'm mixing on it. Yeah, she ain't gonna trip about me making mention of that.
Okay.
So I'm mixing on it, and I'm actually kind of every time I get it to where like I'm digging it, I kind of hear something. She's such a creative vocal like machine. It's crazy. So when I hear her stuff, and music changes so much now, so fast, where like I'm trying to make sure that when she released, it's in time, it's up to date with the genre. That's a big thing for me,
right?
Because that was a challenge of mine, staying current,
right?
And so, but we pretty much just about got what we need, man. And I can promise you this: everybody on the sound of this interview, that's gonna be something crazy. Like, yeah, it's gonna be crazy, man. She is a talent. Like, she's an art all by herself, man. She's got the pen skills. She's got the vocal skills. Like, everything else at that point was kind of on me. And with all of the workload that like just keep populating in my space is the only thing that has really kept me from being able to be very, very detailed and frequent on her project. But it's getting ready to happen. Like, it's all her stuff is done. It's just a matter of me packaging it, and with the mix, with the right production, like with it being current, and like it's a go. So probably within a month from now,
okay,
it'll definitely be out and released.
You know what's dope about you is that, and I said it earlier, but even hearing you talking about all this stuff, and you haven't really said a lot. Like I said, I know, but again, I'm not gonna make you say it, but
Yeah.
the dope part about it, man, and you know, even I don't speak about all the stuff that I be having going on, but you know, we talk. Um,
Right.
People don't always have to speak on what they got going on. One, because when you let everybody in your bag, people always wait for the opportunity when your bag get a hole in it. So they can say, oh,
Man.
see, it didn't work out. Ha ha ha. You get what I'm saying? Especially the people who ain't got nothing going for themselves, right?
Right.
So you can kind of keep your stuff on the back burner, not in a way where when it does blow up, you don't say ha ha in your face, but you just kind of put it on the table and say, here's my trophy, or here's my thing. This is what I've been working on, as you polish it, right? Um,
Right.
and it's one of those things where you don't talk about it until you can show the results of it, right? And so
Yes,
just
sir.
hearing you talk and knowing that, like I said, you're working behind the scenes, it's almost as if you're in your laboratory and you conjuring up this masterpiece just so you can kind of be pleased with the work before you just give it out to the world, but not to brag about it. You're just trying to get work
Right.
done because you like staying consistent and you like staying busy. Where for many, and this is a bad part about social media. Social media allows a lot of people to lie, right? and
Yeah.
and I'm learning a lot about it. And like we talk about it in TMR, and this is one of the things where we try to create in TMR that business mindset and the mindset of trying to get stuff done, where it's not all about check me out, but more about getting it done and showing results. And this is why we, try to talk about the consulting and the ins and outs of the business process, right? But I get that from you in this interview. I've been getting it from the people that I've been interviewing, and that's why I've kind of been strategic in the people that I've been interviewing. Not that no one else in TMR is important. It's just that I feel that the forefront people to help get the message out there to the members, meaning once they hear interviews like this, it'll encourage them to kind of go back to the drawing board and rethink how they're going to plan out their methods, right? And so just in
Yeah.
hearing things like what you have been saying, it's kind of like maybe rethinking the process is very important, and not talking so much is very important, because like I said, you don't talk a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I know that for a fact. It's a very good thing, because like I said, you don't set yourself up for failure, because no one will really know if you fail, bro. Only you'll know. And
Right.
those of us who you choose to tell, you get what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And that's the dope part about it, because no one can say again, I knew it wasn't going to work. You get what I'm saying? Because I think that that's the worst part about people, even those so-called friends. They don't want to see you make it. And a lot of times it's not that they don't want to see you make it. They just don't want to see you make it first. But
Yeah.
I love this interview, like I said, because of the fact that the information you share, it was very beneficial. It was great. Even what you chose to share, Area 51. You know what I'm saying? But what closing words would you have for those who listen to this interview? Like what would you want to share? What advice would you have for anyone that's trying to, let's say, get into what you're trying to do musically, and just and having, because you got your own business, bro. So what advice would you have for an entrepreneur? Because that's what you are.
My advice is some advice that I took myself. Like I
Okay.
literally, this advice was downloaded straight to me from like on high, man. I just one day I realized that if I want to be a business, I have to treat myself like a business. So you heard me mention earlier, that like I got a time clock in my studio.
Right.
I got a sign in and out sheet,
Mm.
and this is something that I live by. So I get up in the morning and I clock in. I take a lunch break, which is what I'm doing now. I take a lunch break and I go and I get back to work. I put in a minimum amount of hours, and that's how I treat myself, even with me paying myself. I treat everything I do like a business, and since I'm pretty much in the freelancing business, I have to, with aside with what I get from church, because that's a whole separate part of my business that is pretty much kind of fixated, and it's gonna go the way it's gonna go on a weekly. But as far as the freelance part, I treat it like a business, man, and so that's number one, understanding that you are a business and treating yourself like a business. Number two is believing like that, anything is really possible. And I know that sounds really cliche, but I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to say the stuff that people really never say after they say that. You see, as a producer, we all have that idea that you're going to get the like number one hit for Beyonce or, whoever's hot right now, Cap G, whatever. I mean, but getting caught up in that fantasy is probably like the number one killer for producers. Because when it don't happen, you feel like you're not being successful. That's not true. There's so much other work out here, man. Hans Zimmer is a billionaire because nobody wants to explore film scoring and maximize and make a signature producer as a film score. Like Timbaland has his sound with the drums and big drums and weird sounds, or like that's his signature, as well as Scott Storch and those guys, and they've done some really big stuff. But like, guess what? You could put Scott Storch, Darkchild, Timbo all together, and none of them are as rich as Hans Zimmer, because there's like a lane that he's just like eating it up. And I think that that's another thing that's important, man, is that producers should not focus on being the best and focus on getting in your lane and finding something that's working for you. Like there's going to be some things that Rush does. I probably ain't never going to be able to do as good as, like, there's going to be some things that like with y'all with this sampling thing, I want to learn how to do it, but I know that ain't my thing, right?
Right.
So as a producer in this business, find you a lane, and I promise you can apply those simple things, like treating yourself like a business, working your lane, being grateful. You know what I'm saying? Like being grateful for where you are, because gratitude that's gonna play a big part. Having a team of people you can consult with that keeps you motivated. They're saying, "Hey, man, this is good or this is not good." That formula right there, man, I'm telling you, I feel like anybody can win. I don't care where you are, because everybody has something to offer. You just have to have the consistency. You got to have the business mind. You got to have the actual will to grind, and it can work for you, man.
Straight up.
That's my advice, because that's what appears to be working for me right now.
Well,
so
I got to thank you. One, let me thank you for taking your lunch break to talk to your big bro. I gotta give you thanks for that. All right.
No doubt.
Then secondly, thank you for being a part of TMR, because like I said, all the members mean something to me, even the ones who don't talk at all, but the members like you that do stuff, because you're like a silent partner, bro. You like that behind the scenes guy. You get what I'm saying? Because there's a lot that you do behind the scenes that people don't know about. And I appreciate it. And like I say, you check in and people don't even know that. But just the fact of your presence and the things that you do when you do come to the table, when you answer questions, or you do come back when you feel the need to let us know some of the things that you're working on or who you're working with, those kind of things, they stand out, because I think that content, visibility, these are things that are very important to our members, and what I've noticed, and I made note of it, in the newsletter that I just put out this week is that our spamming has reduced a great deal. I don't know if you got a chance to see that, but on the timeline, but spamming has been reduced just because of the fact that the content has been so dominant lately as to what we're about. And that's why I went and changed the banner, because we are a consulting firm, you know, and just people are starting to get the message of what Max and I are trying to create within this group. And I'm just proud of everybody, especially because, like I said, it's everything's coming together. So keep doing what you do, and like I said, just thank you for being a part of our brand, and of course everything that we can do to support your brand. You already know you got it from us, bro. So get back to work, keep that good stuff coming, man, and you already know we'll be talking. So have a good one, man, and
no doubt.
Finish it out strong, bro.
No doubt, bro. That's what's up, man. Well, yeah, I'm gonna get back to work, man. Just let you say. So I appreciate the opportunity too, man.
Oh yeah, no doubt. All right, bro. We'll holler
later.
All right, later.